That's where I'm at today.
Well, I think if we're on India Street today, we would see this scene. And I wonder to myself that decades from now, people are going to see this building incorporated into the larger manifold, the larger building. And I wonder what do you think they'll say to themselves? Like, oh, did they forget to demolish this? Or
well, I would
was
hope,
it two different owners? I mean, how will they see that without you there to explain?
well, that building was moved from the other side. So we had to pay $160,000 to move and renovate the 600 square foot house, which is the oldest single family residence in Little Italy, 1888, I think it was built, Prey House. And I think that's going to be looked upon from the perspective of what happens next door to the Alsco building. You know, what do they build there? And the cool thing would be they think it's always been there. That would be the real, benefit.
One of your, or I guess the project on the boards today would be the Charmer.
Started construction Monday, Tuesday.
And this is happening when you've explained to the audience that you're at this crossroads, however you want to define that. So you're about to embark on this major initiative. How does this fit in with being at this crossroads?
Handed off the baton to Matthew. It's his turn. So he doesn't have to collect my awards. He can go collect his own.
So handing off something as substantial as this to your son, let's talk to me for a minute about how that father-son dynamic is right now.
Well, let's just stop for a second. There's the real world famous architect. That's Guillermo Tomacheski that's doing all the drawings here. And he's never messed up anything in his entire life, ever. Never been wrong. And so humble about it. I mean, he's just an amazing guy. So he's working with the drawings, and I'm doing those with him. And Matthew's now learning the process, like I talked about at Homer's office, to build a building. So he can do his own work. It doesn't have to be following mine. But he needs to understand how to implement that and build it. So he's working with the grader, and I go out there almost every morning with him, 1 to 3 times a day with him to explain what he should be looking for. Not telling him what to do, but saying, here's what's going to happen. Be prepared for this. They're supposed to be doing this. They're not. They're doing that. Too much water, not enough water. Just sort of get him educated. And he's smart enough. He'll take over and understand all this. But he's got to get the experience.
The other night at the AIA Design Awards, Matthew accepted an award on your behalf because you were out of the country. And he made a statement to me up here on this very stage. He hopes to someday be challenging you for those very awards.
Maybe that's why I'm checking out. I don't want to be challenged.
Do you see these buildings that are obviously visible from so many public spaces as challenging the average San Diegan or helping the average San Diegan, the passerby, the driver on the freeway or a suburban street understand or be offended? Or I mean, how do you think the average person is engaging with these bolder designs than average?
I think most people receive them well. I mean, the lady that was so kind to go to support me at the Planning Commission and said the K-Lofts looks like a prison, a jail, and a police station with no windows because she actually graduated from Cornell and was a nurse, and that was her expertise. I mean, those kind of people aren't real supportive. And that's kind of why I try to stay away from that public involvement. Because seriously, Keith, I don't know how many architects you've been around. Most guys can't even read their own drawings. How's the general public supposed to understand what's there, right? Like, I sit there and go, whoa, that's not what I thought that was looking like. And we build models. It's like, wow, look at that opportunity. Wow, look at that view. Look at this. I mean, even the cube. Does the cube progress? That's not how I perceive that. That's not how I perceive that. Things develop and you perceive them differently when you're in spaces, around spaces, and among spaces. And I think just in general that we've had real positive reaction. I was with Scott Peters last night, and he said, most people really appreciate your work. Well, that's a really wonderful compliment, right? It's not the C award, it's not the A award, it's just a compliment from the general public. And I think that's really important.
And when you leave the general public, you've been working with these folks in recent years. How is it that you're translating everything or whatever, your portfolio, all these ideas in your brain, your experience, to the attendees at the Architect as Developer Conference?
Well, these people, they want to break free. They want to make some money. They want to be respected, and they want to control. And there's 700 of them in there, all interested in what I got to say. Not that they probably understood most of the stuff, but at least they're starting to. And I think, unfortunately, our profession is degrading, where the architect is just not that important anymore. Not that they've been the most important anyway. The contractor's always more important. You know, he's actually building something so you can pay them a fee. The architect's just got a stupid piece of paper. Why are you paying them? And I think, again, this is my goal, is to liberate these people to do what I do. I stood up there for 8 hours straight and spoke. It's a weird out-of-body experience. It was really strange. It's almost like I was at the ceiling looking down on myself talking.
Did you write your own jokes?
No, anecdotes all worked. I didn't write any jokes.
How does your work here in this context differ from anything we've talked about this evening?
Well, the beauty of what's going on here is these are students at Woodbury that Ted and I started the Masters in Real Estate Development, and they're trying to apply it, and they are. I mean, Mike Burnett is probably our most successful student that's come out of there. He's done beautiful buildings, and we taught him how to do it. You know, we learned Mikey, and it's just a wonderful feeling to see someone doing something and not doing it for the money, because every time I'm doing something, money is never a generator of the answer. It's always what's the best architectural resolution, and that actually always becomes the best financial answer.
So those two, much like your relationship with your wife,
Yep.
yin and yang?
Yep. That's the absolute truth. I mean, people may think it's kind of bullshit, but if you do architecturally what's superior, spatially, visually, relationship, proportion, you'll get more out of it. Hopefully if you do it, it'll be less expensive. And hopefully if you do it, you'll get more rent or more sale or more value.